Evening Toastmasters and guests. As you all know, my name is Untitled Chapter and the acting started at arms. I welcome you all in the meeting of Karachi Toastmasters Club. And I don't know the meeting number.
943.
Meeting number 943. And today we have a theme, live and
Let live.
So before we proceed our meeting, I request you all to please silence your phones so it is not going to interrupt all of us during our meeting. And with that, I would like to invite President of Karachi Toastmasters.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We are looking forward to another feature-packed and fun-filled meeting of Karachi Toastmasters today. As is customary for a president, I would like to introduce what Toastmasters is. Toastmasters is a worldwide organization headquartered in Colorado, USA. And under its auspices, it runs a program which spans the globe, more than 180 countries, and there are more than 17,000 clubs around the world. What do these clubs do? You will just witness all these clubs meet and they impart communication and leadership skills to their members. How these skills are imparted, you will just witness through prepared speeches, different topics, and through evaluation. Before we move further, we have a guest today, and we have someone who has come back to us after a long time. So we will first request our guest, Fahim, please come on the stage and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Good everyone. My name is Fahim Razak. I am here on a visit as a guest. It's my second time to a Toastmaster Club. Last week I was in a Toastmaster Club called Express Toastmaster in Gulshan, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it. I am certainly want to become a member of a Toastmaster Club, and I'm just evaluating going around a couple of more clubs over the next 2 weeks, and then we'll hopefully join as a member.
This one is the best.
It is so far. As by profession, I'm a chartered accountant, but now doing my own business for the last 6 months. And yeah, good to be here. Thank you, everybody.
You are a chartered accountant, and KTC is for you because it's filled with accountants. But now, first I'll put on the cap of district director and say that all Toastmasters Club follow a standardized program, and they offer a superior experience. So you can join any club and be rewarded. And now, calling the cap of KTC president, don't even think. Set the record straight, no matter which Toastmasters club you join, and that is one of the things that I teach you. No matter which club you join, you will not regret. And we hope that you have a great experience here. Everybody, please pay attention. Target Fahim. I would also like to invite Toastmaster Aliza Ram, whom you know through his rigorous daily updates on Hyde Park Club. He has come back to us after a long time. Please reintroduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. My name is Ram, and I came here after a long time.
No, you came here as a bachelor. Now you have lost your master degree.
I wasn't here due to some personal commitments and a lot of things going on in my life. But now I'm here back
Sign up for evaluation contest.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ali Zurgan. And let me tell you, Toastmaster Ali Zurgan has seen some exceptionally tough times and also some very happy times. And during the entire duration, his link with Karachi Toastmasters Club was never broken. So each and every one of our members, whether they VP membership, please close your ears. Whether they renew or not, they are always part of the family. With that, I will now invite our VP Education for the business session. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, fellow sponsors and guests. I'm sure I'm audible and visible. Last week, we had two meetings. First one was the regular meeting. That is our regular meeting. We call it open house. And Saturday meeting, we call it as the academy. It is the advanced version of our Toastmasters meeting, of our regular meeting. So the highlights of last Wednesday meeting, 941st meeting was we had Toastmaster as a best speaker, as well as the critics' choice for best speaker, and we had best evaluator. We had best evaluator this time not Toastmaster, but Toastmaster Karim Beghani. Yes, his friend. Then we had best facilitator, and she was Toastmaster Sandra Awan as Premier. And then we had best big four. He's president at the meeting. He was the Toastmaster of the day for last week and Toastmaster for last year. Then we had best topic speaker. He's also present in today's meeting, but virtually he's joining through Zoom. TM Sarfaraz Nazir. The best thing about our last Wednesday meeting was that our meeting was graced by the program quality director, and he delivered his project speech in our club, and that's wonderful to have him as a prepared speaker. Then we had our academy session, and in academy session we had an education session conducted by Toastmaster Maria Bona. She is a member of the Toastmasters Club, and by birth she is an Italian, but by heart she is Pakistani. So with that, I would like to open the charter, President Toastmasters Club.
Thank you so much. What VP Education should also have announced is there's a change in the evaluation mechanism.
Oh, sorry, forgot.
No worries, no worries. There's a change in evaluation mechanism for Critics' Choice Award. And this is the first time we have made this change, and this has been resulted from the direct advice of TM Sarfaraz Nazir. So first of all, sincere gratitude to you. Now, our Critics' Choice Award will consist of two components. The first component will be the usual international speech contest ballot, and that will have 50% of the weightage. 50% of the weightage will be given by the respective evaluators, and they are supposed to mark the speech out of 10 in terms of how closely it fulfilled the project objectives. So 50% weightage to the speech's quality in terms of national speech contest, and 50% in terms of how closely it stuck to the project objectives. And this data will be fed into a supercomputer, and it will take, I think, 3 hours before it spits out the result. No, we won't need a supercomputer. We just need someone who has a PhD in quadratic speech. But hopefully, we plan to pull it off. And this is the big change that has been made in the meeting format. We hope that will further enhance the goals that we thought to achieve with the Critics' Choice Award. For the record, let me state that ever since we introduced the Critics' Choice Award, there has been an amazing and thorough transformation in how speeches are made at Karachi Toastmasters Club. Not that they were bad before, they were always top of the line. But they have become even more passionate, outstanding, and complete after the introduction of this report. There's another news loosely related to Karachi Toastmasters. And that news is that we are on the verge of completing the charter process of an online advanced theme club called Quantum Deep Toastmasters Club. It has members from around the globe. And it will be online only, and it is themed around advanced physics, science fiction, fantasy, environment. That's not the special thing about it. The special thing is that it was founded by a member of Karachi Toastmasters Club. That means that the number of clubs now founded by Karachi Toastmasters Club members is now what? 13, 14. Every club in Division B and 2 clubs in Division A and C, they have been founded or co-founded by Karachi Toastmasters Club. With that, it is time to hand over the charge to our Toastmaster today, who is very inspiring personality. She has been a frontline fighter against fight against COVID. She is a passionate and effervescent speaker, like every other doctor that I know. And she does everything with all her heart. We all know her as, can anyone guess who she is?
Toastmaster Naveenta.
She's standing right there. No prizes for guessing. Please put your hands together. Toastmaster Naveenta. Let me play. It's okay. So we'll be playing a video related to the theme of the meeting. And
Just a minute. Let me turn on my. Why not we use our mobiles light?
okay, I will be.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I am Toastmaster Naveenta Karan, and I will be the Toastmaster of the evening, introducing speakers, facilitators, and basically hosting the meeting. So I would like you all to close your eyes and listen to the audio strip of
I want you all to close your eyes and remember the happiest day of your life. The day you made someone smile. The day you had tears in your eyes. The day full of fun and thrill. Day full of sorrows and tears. Day when you lost someone which was very dear to you. Your baby's first cry. Your daughter's first calling you Papa or Mama. The day you made your parents proud of you. All the moments you have achieved so far. These experiences full of emotions is life. Keep your eyes closed and listen to the music ahead.
by our single sense that of hearing. This is life that we are able
After mute. Carry on.
that we are able to sense things by not even watching, just not doing anything. Just we could just hear things and just assume in our minds, because our nervous system is working so perfectly that the
Yes, they are wrong.
Okay, yeah.
so our nervous system is working so perfectly that any audio that we hear just transmit from our ears to the brain and functions, and the memories reflect in our mind. Same way, if someone has gone through any trauma, any experience that was hard in their life, they also have nightmares. How that works, that's the same process, because you have been through a memory and that reflects back onto your brain, and you have that flashbacks when you sleep. Whenever you miss someone, your tears automatically flow through your eyes. That is life. Life is about happiness and sorrows. Life is just about KTC. How? Just like give and take. Like here, we give speeches and we take back the evaluation. But in life, no one actually encourages us in like the way members here do at KTC. So I welcome you all at this meeting of Karachi Toastmasters. First of all, I would like to introduce the facilitators of the meeting, because a lot of time has already been wasted because of the video. So let's go fast forward this way. So first of all, our first facilitator is Toastmaster Rabia Zishan, she's the Gamanian today.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Naveenta. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today I will be the grammarian today and also the word master. The word of the day is emphatic, which means done or said in a manner, in a strong way or without any doubt, or expressing something forcibly and clearly. An example of this word, how to use it in a sentence, would be Pakistan gave an amazing performance with an emphatic victory over India. So something which you want to force upon and which is clearly proven is emphatic. Try to use this word throughout the day. And according to our theme, we really need to have emphatic conversations on climate change. So do use this word. And as a grammarian, I'll be using the good and the bad usage of the grammars you use throughout the day. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to call our next facilitator, Toastmaster Ali Ashar Anju. He is the word counter today.
Next one we have Toastmaster Ghulam Khan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening. Being the vote counter, I'm going to float the vote poll for the 4 occasions. Best speaker, table topics, elevation, big 4, and the best facilitator. And at the end of the meeting, I am going to announce the winner of each segment. Who will be Toastmaster of the evening?
Thank you. Next facilitator is timer, and I would like to invite Toastmaster Imran Rana to explain the role of the timer.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening. I'm the timer for today's meeting. My role is to make sure that the meeting proceedings are on time. There will be different timing for different segments. I'm sure I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So there will be different timing for different segments. For prepared speeches, the speaker has to speak for 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, my virtual background, if the speaker is online, my virtual background will change into green, at 6 yellow, at 7 red. All you are requested to pin the timer screen so that you cannot cross your time limits of your speeches. For all physical speakers, I'll turn on the green light at 5 minutes, I'll turn on the yellow light at 6 minutes, and at 7 minutes, I'll turn on the red light. Red light means that you have to you have only 30 seconds left to wrap up your speech, otherwise you will be disqualified for the voting. For table topics, all the speakers have to speak from 1 minute to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. At 1 minute, I'll turn on the green light or change my background to green. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I'll turn on the yellow light or change my background to yellow. At 2 minutes, I'll turn on the red light or change my background to red. This means the speaker has to wrap up his speech, because after 30 seconds, he will be disqualified for voting. For speech evaluation, the speaker, the evaluation timing starts at 2 minutes, green light, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, yellow light, at 3 minutes, red light. So after 30 seconds, he will be disqualified. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite our president, TM Karan, for the role of our counselor.
Basically, you know, these are the words we use in our conversation that are filler words. And in Toastmasters, we believe that these affect the flow of a meeting and a flow of a speech. That is why it is our common target to reduce the usage of these words. It will be my duty to count how many times filler words are used by each speaker to the extent possible. Fortunately, I won't be counting myself. And I'll be presenting my report at the end of the meeting in the journal evaluation session.
Next facilitator is Toastmaster Karan. We want to of listener.
You need to be a good listener.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, my role is obvious. So what I'll be doing today is I'll be identifying some phrases spoken by the speakers, and I'll be putting that in front of all the audience. And the audience has to guess as to who spoke this. Any confusion?
Those
Thank you very
who
much.
Our next is our very own dear Toastmaster Hiba Rais as a joke master. So I welcome her here for a laughing session.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. What should you do when no one laughs at your science joke? What should you do when no one laughs at your science joke? Keep trying until you get a reaction. Today is International Women's Day. Today is International Women's Day. It was actually supposed to be yesterday because women take a lot of time to get ready. My friend is throwing a fancy dress party at England. The theme is Italy. Anyway, my friend decided we should go as Italian. I told her, don't be Sicily. Silly. What did the Dalmatian say after she had a huge meal that hit the spot? There are a few more. Why did the bird get in trouble? Sorry, why did the bird get in trouble in class? Because it was caught tweeting during a test. What did the firefly say to her BFF? You glow, bird. And the second last one, why don't lambs ever sing when they're in water? They're too light. And the last one, why couldn't the pony sing at her choir contest? So concert because she was a little hoarse.
Laughing section. So we have 3 segments here. First one is prepared speeches. Second one is table topics. And the third one is journal evaluation. So let's start prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Toastmaster Karim Meghani. I would like to invite DTM Sarfaraz, his evaluator, to introduce the speaker and his role. Please welcome DTM Sarfaraz.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The purpose of this project for Toastmaster Karim Meghani is to apply his skills as a public speaker and a leader to facilitate a panel discussion. The time of his presentation is 20 to 40 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
So, I invite Toastmaster Karim Meghani for his speech. Please welcome Toastmaster Karim Meghani.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So today, I'll be doing a panel discussion with you all. And with you all means that I have a panelist, but this is a discussion for us. Today, I will be discussing our city, Karachi. And that will be my discussion topic. And what I will be discussing about Karachi, before that, I want to show you a video. I will warn you that it's little disturbing for some people. It can be little disturbing for some people, but it's important that we should look at this reality and then let's discuss about it. So if you can allow me to share my screen, please.
Well, the temperature is 42 degrees centigrade, but it feels like 50. It feels like hot air trapped somewhere and unable to escape. Similarly, Karachi for the past 4 years feels like a furnace and experiencing severe heat waves. Experts relate this extra warming up to a phenomena called heat island effect.
Heat island effect is basically an urban phenomenon. The temperature within the urban landscape increases by a few degrees from what it normally should be. So the heat that is generated from the buildings and also the heat, for example, that is generated from the exhaust of automobiles, it gets trapped within that dense built area.
One could say that global warming plus the heat island effect makes Karachi to one of the hottest places on earth.
In Karachi, when we had that heat wave a couple of years back, and we had more than 1,500 people dying, it was found that most of them were basically those that were the marginalized, that were on the streets and that were already, vulnerable to such a thing happening.
Unfortunately, what happened in 2015 was the heat wave coincided with the holy month of Ramadan. So in that case, because the people were fasting, so there were a lot of casualties and a lot of serious cases. We are lucky enough this year that heat wave has started after the month of Ramadan.
Local authorities had to arrange many dozens of water camps to bring relief.
We have established about more than 125 camps, heat camps, in different districts of Karachi.
Some basic instruments that could turn Karachi into a greener and cooler metropole are lacking.
So, all the causes are there. One major protection that we have against increase in temperature is green cover, which conditions the temperature. And in Karachi, the green cover, of course, as everybody knows, is disappearing. So in terms of transport, is a city, it's almost criminal that of a city for over 20 million, you don't have a public transit system. Everybody is in their automobile. So yes, all these things are very likely to increase related with climate change. Not many people know that according to the Economist magazine's Global Livability, Index, Karachi now is 137 out of 147 countries that they, looked into in terms of livability. So the whole mindset needs to change.
This is Noreen Shams reporting for Cool Down the Planet in Karachi, Pakistan.
So you saw this video, and it's like the horrible facts. What is happening to our beautiful city? Today I wanted to discuss about this particular subject, about especially that how the environment is affecting our beautiful city. I have a wonderful panelist, and I selected them on a particular criteria. It's with all due respect to everyone, DTM Samir Hamid Dodi, I selected him personally because I saw him a very senior person who knows Karachi probably. He lived all his life here. His he I can feel that he can give a lot of insight about this particular subject. DTM Samir Dodi is a graduate engineer. He's an entrepreneur. He is running his own business. Is involved with several business and social organizations, association. His personal passion is working with various civil advocacy group as a volunteer. He has been a Toastmaster since 2005, and in 2019, Toastmaster International appointed him as the first district director of District 122 TC, first district director of 122. District was the first in the world to become Smedley Distinguished. So welcome, DTM Samir. Thank you for joining this panel. I have another very distinguished panelist with me is TM Urusa Kawal, our past president. She is joining. To select her, it's not because I want to balance this panel with a lady, but because she knows she have the experience from Dubai and Karachi. So I want to know a little bit of that comparison, that how she find this particular issue. So TM Urusa Kawal, she's our past president, and as I told you, she is the division director since mid-2021, a former auditor turned wordsmith. Thank you for joining us, TM Urusa Kawal. Thanks for joining this panel. And my third panelist, which is a very special person, because we've been connected a lot in our Toastmaster meetings with an evaluation or with a speech, but also he is representing here, I'm not saying that he's representing the government, but he works as a civil servant. So I want his perspective also, in particularly on this particular subject. When he looked at the situation in Karachi, how he feel about it. So he is basically, his profile is very, very important for us. He did his MSc in disaster management from UK, government servant. He's working on governance and management issues with government of Balochistan, served as a district officer planning, director disaster management authority, additional deputy commissioner, and direct general in Balochistan province. Thank you, TM Asghar Ramzan, to join this panel. Thank you all. I hope this discussion will lead to a very positive thoughts, and we will find out, we will identify some insight on this particular subject. So let me start with DTM Samir Hamid. When you looked at this video, what the first thing came to your mind? If you recall your years in Karachi, what is the first thing came to your mind?
Well, thank you very much, Toastmaster Megani. All I can say is that this was expected. It's something like a man who drives a car without brakes, and then he's wondering that, will I get into an accident? Yes, you will, eventually. So I think that Karachi has been very unfortunate, because I remember from my childhood that it was a very different city from what it is now. And this, maybe the Karachi that my father told me, was even more different. The biggest issue in Karachi is that we don't have a master plan. The growth is absolutely random. We have too many authorities. We don't have a central authority with a certain master plan for the whole city. DHA has its own, Port Qasim their own, KPT, and the main city has the own thing. So that's the first thing. There is no particular master plan for the city. Like if you go to other countries, you see that there are certain areas which have, say, like a commercial area, then residential. Here, it's absolute chaos. The second thing is, of course, the lawlessness of the government. By that, I mean that SPCA, Sin Building Control Authority, is a money-making institute. And when I say money-making, I mean billions. No building can go up in Karachi, main Karachi, without their say-so. And there's so much of illegal construction. There are construction on parks, all of the green areas. They've been busy destroying them. And this can only be done with the collusion of who? The guards. The people who are supposed to guard the city, the government, they themselves are so busy destroying the city. And I'm not saying one or the other. People's Party, and I'll be very frank, People's Party has done their damage. MKM with the China cutting, even PTI people have been involved if you look at the background. So just don't tell me that one party or the other. Everybody who has a chance has used the city and has absolutely, I would say, ravished it, destroyed it. So this is a big thing. And this we need to, and we the citizens, we've been sleeping because unless the people really make a demand and tell the people that, okay, in your manifesto, what will you do to take our vote? Right now, we have a chance. So I think that this is one of the big things. So anyway, I can go on, but I think that I also want to go on to the green cover, but please let us panelists get a chance.
Yeah, let me come back to you on green cover and what the strategies, what we can do as a citizens, and what we all can do together. Let me ask TM Arusa. You were there 80s and 90s, you were in Dubai. When you came to Karachi, how was the impression? And when you looked Karachi from there till now, what are the changes you witnessed, especially concerning the weather?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Karim, for inviting me to this discussion. 80s and 90s, I have, let's say in Dubai, I've seen a lot of the usage of, let's say, cooling temperatures in Dubai. And Dubai obviously is a desert, right? So there needs to be these cooling systems. There need to be these systems that keep that area cool. Now, coming to Karachi, we did not have in those times these things that would keep us cool. But the temperature that in those days in early 2000 was really, really good. It was, we would just walk freely in the summer. We would not care. Let's say we were young also. And the temperature and everything was really, really good, conducive. And since then, obviously, there has been a gradual degradation in temperature, in environment, in what we have seen in a lot of traffic conditions that have not improved, have just become, for worse, they've gone. And yes, the city is still livable. It is still a place where we can live and we can survive, but it's not healthy. It's not, there's a lot of pollution. And when I go back for a month or so, I change. I change so drastically back there. So yes, the city really needs a makeover.
It was very important that I picked the one point of view that, livable. And we've seen in the video 143 out of 146. Yes. So that's our city, our beautiful city where we all grown up. And this is now that the level is coming up in the international reports. Let me move to TM Asghar Ramzan. It's not that, I will be directly targeting because you are a civil servant, but I want to know the insight, the issues the government is facing to tackle this particular issue. And I want to ask you specifically questions about, urbanization. As DTM Samir was saying that there is no master plan. So how the government and the ministry when they looked at this issue, what is coming to their mind, how to resolve this issue?
Thank you very much. And you rightly mentioned that I'm not representing the government.
Yeah, no.
But I don't agree that DTM Samir is a senior person. I am, you know, always I am looking forward to learn from him. And yes, he is rightly over here. We both agree that he rightly mentioned at least some of the factors. Now, how the state wants to see it, I think state knows what's happening. State refuses to see it as they are happening. Either state does not have a power to improve the thing, or in alliance, in unison with the other non-state organ or the people, and creating this mess, and creating it is a greater mess than it is now. But at the heart of the problem is what I call the political economy of climate change, political economy of environmental degradation. Let's look at this. Karachi is basically a low-income city. Karachi has a health problem, clean water issues. Karachi has an electricity issue. Karachi, as you rightly mentioned, urban transportation issue. Now, this climate change or the heat wave, because you are not specific in your question, so I will take it as a heat wave because the video, if you are referring the discussion with the video, so that is heat wave. Now, when it comes to heat wave, now see that the climate change is combining with the economic constraint. People are living in a financially unstable condition. They're living in an impoverished neighborhood with poorly ventilated house. Now, who forced them to do? Why they were not able to improve their lives? I think it is something to do with the political economy of the heat wave or the climate change. What need to look there? Now, one of the things is the regulatory authorities. They are not failed, they are collapsed. As DTM Samir mentioned, at least one of the name. And I'm very much agree with him. Yes, Karachi has master plan, but Karachi has more than, I think, 3 master plan from 50s, and one is still under consideration. So when you have a 3 master plan, then you in effect has no master plan. And if you don't have a master plan, then growth is random. And I think one of the, now what a state should do, a state should, it is basically a governance issue. A state should do the things more than from multi-dimensional ways. The institution, the restructuring of the institutions, the way they built their institution, a political will for the restructuring of that institution, the accountability of that institution is some of the things which can be done to improve the lot. Otherwise, as Samir referred as Father's Karachi, believe me, it is going to be a messier by the day if no one interferes.
Very, very interesting points you raise here, TM Asghar. I think that, you know, you talked about governance, you talk about political will, but I think, you know, I just want to argue on this particular word about low income city. Why I'm saying this? You know, my argument that Karachi is not a low income city, but the income is not being dispersed properly. I think that's my feeling is. DTM Samir, do you agree on it, this particular thing?
Why? Yes, up to an extent, it's absolutely true. Look, there are 2 or 3 reasons. First of all, of course, the population of Pakistan is growing rapidly, and a lot of people from rural areas are coming to cities for the earning. So I would say it's not like, you know, it's just low income, but I would say it's 2 income. In one side, it's people like me. Hey, let's face it, who have money, who can, you know, afford a house, stay in a place. But if you look at the vast majority of people, their lives are quite miserable. They're living in congested places, in Kachi Abadis and other places. So it's not just low income, but I would say 2 income. And again, I cannot agree with Toastmaster Asghar more when he says it's a governance thing. Do you know that SPCA, before it was KBCA, every officer of any repute, you know what they did when they went for retirement? They didn't live in Karachi. They all went to Canada. I can tell you dozens of these guys who are sitting in Canada with their families after they've made the money here, and they made lots of money. So my thing is that it's not just low income, it's not resources. Okay, there is an issue, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is the political will and the rot. And I blame the citizens too, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. That is one of the things. If you look at some of the others, even low-income cities in the world, where there was a well, like Singapore at one time, do you think they were super duper had a high income? Okay, they were a city state, but the leadership there said, okay, we're going to make this happen. And Singapore is a city state or a country that has very limited water, but they still, the prime minister said that I'm not going to have a park within a city. He says, I'm going to have a city within a garden. If you go to Singapore, in spite of it being water deficient, you see, greenery everywhere. But that man had a vision while we had none. Please.
Thank you, DTM Samir. Very interesting that the conversation is going, but it seems that from the last two arguments that it's going to the political will and the governance. Now, but Arusa, now you from UAE and Pakistan, you saw the governance in Dubai, the systems, and in Pakistan. What are the things you can highlight from your experience?
As for the governance, I'd say UAE is a younger country compared to Pakistan. Pakistan has had its independence earlier, right? So they have basically this. Obviously, the systems of ruling the countries are different. There, they have a different system of ruling. We have a different system of ruling. But there, the rulers are really, committed to their countries. They are committed to their goals. Especially if you talk about Dubai, it has seen a lot of development in terms of tourism, also in terms of if you go and look at the city, it's highly developed compared to the other 7 Emirates. So if you read the history of Dubai, if you get a book or something, you'll read that the ruler of Dubai, he used to have this idea of giving up land and having it developed by other people of the other Emirates, anyone. And that caused, what you would say, snowball the development quite quickly in the country. So we we do it mostly for money purposes, but they actually did it for development purposes. And that had, I've seen a lot of development in Dubai, Sharjah, not in Abu Dhabi that much. Abu Dhabi is the capital, there wasn't much development there, but Dubai and Sharjah is developed like that mostly. And I hope you can, yes, please.
No, I completely agree. Just I'm realizing that maybe Dubai and Karachi is not the right comparison that when you
no,
say
it is actually, because both are port cities, and both are port cities, and they both have the same kind of metropolitan crowd. Both countries, both cities will go to both cities to earn money, and they are really inhabited by people who have this motivation to earn and live a better life. Even Karachi has the same kind of focus. But in terms of environment, yes, we've been lagging behind a lot.
Okay, TM, thank you very much, TM Arusa. That was very, very clear. But TM Asgar, that now if everything moves back to the government or the governance, you said that we need to have political will, you need to have governance issues. But I think there is some role of civil organizations and civic duties also. I feel that there is some role people need to play also. How we can make this bridge between the people and the government to improve this situation, in your opinion? Say your mic.
Well, I think there is a trust deficit between the people and the state, especially the state like we have in the developing countries. That trust need to be built in order to go forward. For example, if you want to reduce the exposure and vulnerability, in order to reduce this issue, you need people. If you need to assess the risk of the heat wave or the climate change, you need the help of the people. Even if you want to clean your drainage system, you need to a connection with the stakeholders. But what we are seeing is quite contrary. You need special planning, but when it comes to the special planning, as DTM Samir rightly pointed out, the regulatory authorities collusion in order not to do it, because it is not their interest to do so. Now, if we need a flood defense even around the city, or if we need a green cover for the city, we need the help, the trust of the people. This trust has to be built by the state. It is the responsibility of the state to build that trust, because a state is operating at a level above to the people. Now, this disjoint is still going on. As long as this disjoint is there, at least I individually don't have any hope for any move forward. Over to you.
No, thank you very much. But I think that, we need to find some solution. It seems that, if we are waiting for the government and the authorities or the governance to solve these issues, we will be just sitting. We'll be not doing anything. When I was looking at the heat wave, this heat wave issue, there was one thing came. The issue is urbanization planning and urban heat island. So what they are saying that, because we increased so much concrete, we didn't balance this with the nature, with the green cover. Now, if we see this example in China, if you see this example in Singapore, one of the panelists mentioned it. They were thinking about green cover even on the concrete. DTM Samir, do you think that, there are some hope is there? Is still some people are doing something? Or you observe this in Karachi?
Oh, look, the point is that, yes, of course. I have been involved with a number of tree plantations, plantings and all. And again, the thing is the ownership, because you see what doesn't work and what you mostly say is this, okay, we'll plant 1,000 trees, and they plant them. And I can tell you that within 3 months or 6 months, they'll all be dead or stolen or whatever. What you need to do is to build up some kind of relationship with the residents in an area that, okay, we'll give you trees, we'll help you with this, and you have to take care of them. These are you have to take ownership of this green cover, because eventually it's going to be your life. And I cannot give you a better example that once I was involved with, an NGO, and we gave this old gentleman about, I think it was 400 trees. And it was, he built them in the Askari 4, I think it Askari something or the other. He used to live in these apartments. And what he did is that he and these other old gentlemen, they made sure the trees were planted. They used to go and visit every day, in the walk, and make sure that, the gardeners and all, they took care of the trees. And there was almost 95% survival. While in most of the other tree plantations, you're lucky if there's only 5%. So I think what the message needs to go out, and especially to the younger people, is that plant a tree, save your life. And when you plant a tree, make sure it's your tree. Don't just say, okay, we've planted it, I've taken a photo, okay, bye, I'm gone. That will never work. What is going to work is that they take ownership that this is my tree and I'm going to see it grow. And I do not know how to put it, but at one time we had civics, and I don't know if any of you remember, we had civics in school. Now we just have religion, I guess, Islamiyat. But the point was that that was one of the things that was taught, that you need to be civil, that you need to take the society and you, there's a bond between you. And that is something that we need to kind of build up once again.
It's a very important point about, the NGO and the civil society organizations. Do you, in the TM Rusa, do you observe some civil society organizations which are doing some good work in this particular domain?
Well, in Karachi, I think there are many organizations that are doing these kinds of works, like cleaning the beaches and planting green trees and all that. Yes, there are quite a few.
But it's not enough, it seems that,
It's, well, I guess it all depends on the volunteers that they can gather. Not everyone, I feel, is geared towards working in such, setups. NGOs, they obviously drive their workforce from people who are passionate, and if there are no people who are passionate enough, then obviously we will be falling short.
Yeah, I think that civil society need to play a very important role. And if we see the examples of globally the world itself, that where there are good examples, there are best practices which we can adapt. And one of the thing is that civil society need to be activated as soon as possible, because the governments cannot handle these issues. I'm right on this, TM Asghar. I think one of the things it's TM Asghar, this is the last question for you, and then we will go to the audience if they have any question anybody wants to ask. When we talk about the government and the civil society bonds, how to build partnerships. Did you observe that in the current system of governments we are having this kind of bonds with civil society?
Yes, we didn't have. That is why. But I always said that we need a trust between both of the parties. But I think gradually this trust is building, at least at organizational level. We are increasingly seeing PPP mode, public-private partnership mode. This is one of the way, at least that for the non-governmental organization to have a contact with the government at certain level. I think after this level comes then the stakeholders, and currently all 4 provinces have their own act for public-private partnership, and there are a lot of environmental organization. For example, in Karachi, I know the Sherry, one of the gentlemen was in a video. I know him, he's from Sherry, an organization called Sherry. This Sherry organization is very rich in terms of the money, but it is always stands against the government, even from the Kausji days. I mean, the government is not ready to talk with this organization, and this organization is not ready to talk with the government, because the 50% of the efforts this organization expert is to find out the government and then criticize it rather than doing his job. And wherever he was doing his job, he did it rather wonderfully. I really appreciate this organization, the people who are connected with it. But I always, as an organization, I always found this organization standing the opposite of the government, and the government is always busy to undermine it rather than working with it. I mean, this can be a prototype, a classic case of how the private organization and the government organization are not ready to sit together. But I think with the passage of time, I see this in KPK and Punjab at least. People there are ready to sitting with the government and exploring the opportunities, and they are meeting in the middle ground and exploring the opportunities regarding their common interest. And it's a good omen. I think it will be done in coming decade at least.
Thank you very much, TM Asghar. That was very insightful. I think that in the interest of time, I can take one question, I think, from the audience. If anybody would like one question to the panelist. Okay, maybe I can see TM Heba raise her hand. Yeah, TM Heba, you would like to ask a question?
Yes, I have unmuted.
You can sit right there because the camera is pointing at you.
We can hear you. We can hear people. Yeah.
Okay. I had a question to TM Samir, that you mentioned about the government, all the corruption and all, and how everything it leads to, the environmental damages.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get your question. I'm so sorry.
I think you have to come forward.
A little bit closer.
Yeah, a little bit closer.
By the way, TM Asghar, I'm also involved with Sherry, so I know very much about them. But but the thing is, you see, one of the things that people always, they're anti-development, they're this, that. But how can you condone maybe some guy who's taken over a park or who's making an illegal building, and you go to the government and they're trying to protect that person? So there's a conflict. Of course, there's a conflict. But and that is why there were so many court cases done by Sherry regarding so many of these matters. Quite frankly, because otherwise, if you just write a letter to them and you tell them, yeah, this is something going on wrong, and instead of them taking your side, they're on the other side fighting with you. What's going to happen? Please.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you, Samir. I totally agree. I really appreciate it, Sherry.
I understand both of you. Let's
we
see.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, yes.
I had to go along with the question. Okay, I had a question for DTM Samir. You mentioned about the government, and how all the corruption leads to the, there's a lot of mismanagement in the government, and how it eventually, because they don't eventually end up doing work for the environment. So it's a sort of a minor contribution towards the environmental damage. But how about we, what do you think that we as individuals are also contributing towards the environmental damage? Like, littering, for instance, littering on a small level. And then how should we, take steps to contribute towards the environmental preservation? Because the government is the major aspect, but there's the minor aspect of, how about we, because the government will do what they want to. We cannot change the government's perspective. We as individuals should rather take action. What do you think about that? Because the government,
We got your question.
Look, listen, TM Heba, I absolutely and totally agree with what you're saying. And let me give you a very small example. When I'm traveling in Germany, you don't usually even have people checking the tickets in the, train or underground or whatever. Sometimes you do. And what I found is that everybody has a ticket, even though nobody checks them 9 times out of 10, or even maybe they check after every 1 month. And one of the Germans told me that here, it is the attitude, because if you are stealing from the state, it means you're stealing from the other commuters. And even, then your friends, the people around you, they look down upon you. Here, if you do something, people say, yaar, kitna aqlmand hai. Arey yaar, chori, arey yaar, bahut acha kiya. Yaar, kunda laga diya, kya baat hai? Or you do this, kya baat hai, kya baat hai? So I think that this is the attitude that we, the citizens, have to change. We have to change our attitude that when we are doing something bad, as you say, littering, or maybe we say, okay, let's steal a plant that's on the tree. Yaar, mujhe acha lagta hai, chal main tod ke le aun. We are damaging the society. So I think that this is something that this has to be a change in our mind. And I think that this has to start from school, teaching the kids that, okay, that you have a civic duty to society and vice versa. I don't know how to install that, but that has to be there. It has to start from the younger generation, because I think the older ones, they are quite set in their ways. So I hope I answered your question. And sorry, one more thing. This is my open thing, offered to anybody here. If indeed any of you know of an area that needs 50 or 100 saplings, and you can give me a guarantee that we will look after these trees, I can help you get the saplings for free. But the point is that your surety is that we are going to take care of them, and we'll make sure they're not destroyed or dying out. So one thing you can take from me, from this session, I'll be there to provide the saplings and the trees. Please.
I was about to ask the last comment from each of the panelists, and you already given it. But TM Hiba, thank you for this question. Let me get the last comment from TM Arusa and TM Asgar after.
My last comment would be, we should be more, I think the crux of all the discussion is we should be more careful about our social responsibility and the environmental responsibility to control this climate change. Over to you, Mr.
Asgar.
Well, I think rather than depending on a state, we need to connect ourselves with non-governmental organization. We can work better with the NGOs, either international NGOs or local NGOs. Once we are able to stand on our feet as a community, as an organization, then we will go to the state and put its demand. We can fight with the state only when we are powerful. Otherwise, state refuse to listen its weak segment of the society.
Thank you, TM Asghar. That was phenomenal. I think that the thoughts, the process, and your experience, what you shared today. I think I just summarize in 2 lines that we have to do something. That is the only sentence I tell myself, that I have to do something. And one of my effort as an overseas Pakistani, when I see Karachi situation, when I see this particular scenario, what I can do, I can communicate this panel discussion into my YouTube channels and whatever social media I have, and I can share with them that, what are our thoughts about it. I love the thought when DTM Samir said that we have to work with the children, we have to work with the early level. And that, let's say that, the school systems, what we can do, TM Arusa, you also said the same thing, that, we have to individually do something. And TM Asghar, civil society, I think this is the solution. In any place, the government cannot do everything. We have, as a citizen, we have to do something. Thank you very much, 3 of you, to participate in this panel discussion. Wonderful learning. Thank you very much, all the Toastmasters who are very patiently listened the whole meeting, in fact. And thank you very much for your participation. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
You are mute. You are mute.
Now you are not.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Karan, for highlighting this very important issue related to climate change. So, few days back, I was just watching a random YouTube vlog, and the man came and shows, like, whenever we end up going washroom, not at a home, basically, if you can take an example from the beach luxury washroom, we usually go, and after washing our hands, we usually take out 3-4 tissue papers in our hand directly. We can use as many as we want, but once we are done with the first tissue paper, then we can pull out the second one. So this is a very simple step that we can apply in our life, and maybe it will help children to learn, like anyone around your home, and you can make them learn. And the second most thing is throwing litter out of the cars, spilling out of the cars, because we as the elder don't do that, but we don't even stop our children. We usually say, "Bacha, like it's kid, he learn," but now is the time to learn. If we make them learn today, at the moment, it will help them. It will help save the environment. Thank you. Next speak is my Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir, and his evaluator is TM Talha bin Hamid. I would like to welcome TM Talha for.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir will be delivering his project called Manage Change. And it's a level 4 project. The title of the speech is From Manual to Digital. The description of the project is for the member to practice developing a change management plan, and for the member to share some aspects of a change management plan. During the completion of the project, the member developed a change management plan about any real or hypothetical change his or her past or current change that affects a group he or she is part of. The member will give specific information about the plan. So everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir from Manual to Digital.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, change is always very difficult in our lives. We always resist the change. That is our in nature. That's a built in our nature. And we are humans, and we are always resistant to change. Let me give you an example. Yesterday morning, I always eat boiled egg in breakfast. But when I came out of the room, after getting ready for my office, I suddenly saw Weetabix. What? Boiled eggs, Bushra, and why Weetabix is there? So we need to get slim, we need to reduce weight, we need to eat Weetabix. That was the reply from my mind. growling, and then went to the office. This is one little example of how we resist to the change, even if we know what the outcome is all about. So, if the change is imposed on us, just imagine how difficult it would be. And especially in our work environment, the way we work for so many years in the same manner, and then suddenly we're asked that now you'll be working in this manner. For example, if a relationship manager at one of the branches of HBL works in a certain manner for last 25 years, that is the paperwork. Keep on doing the paperwork. Maybe he has a very good handwriting, but one good day, he's asked to stop that and then move on to a digital system. What would be the first reaction? Can anybody tell me?
Not at all. Not possible.
Not at all. What the hell you guys are talking about? So that's the same thing which we faced back in 2018. So let me tell the audience regarding what the current personal process is all about. I'm heading a personal business in HBL. So this process, the manual process, back in 2018, took 7 to 21 days. And it was completely manual, like a paperwork. The application form itself had 380 fields. Can you imagine? And then we asked the customer to furnish the bank statement, the salary slip, the CNIC copy, and the list goes on. Maybe the CNIC copy of parents, and goes on and goes on. So we had to do something. We had to come up with a process whereby we can reduce this turnaround time from 7 days to 21 days and give some good experience. The world was changing, and we were of the opinion that if we do not change, we are going to be far behind the competition. So we decided to change the manual process to digital. Now, what this digital was all about? So let me first go back one step back and explain how cumbersome this process was. The customer steps into the branch and fills all documentation. Then that RM goes to the branch manager, gets it manually endorsed, signed off. Those documents are sent via courier service to the regional head offices. We have total 19 regional head offices pan Pakistan out of 1,700 branches. So those, it takes around good minimum 24 hours. If it's a far-flung branch, it takes 48 hours for the courier to just deliver documents from the branch to the regional head office, regional headquarters. Now, then there are chaudharis in regional headquarters. Those who have a say, and those chaudharis, the processing staff, process that at their own level. So they take good 2-3 days. And then once they process those documents, they again put it in a piece of an envelope and send it via courier service. And if the region is Muzaffarabad in Azad Jammu Kashmir, it again takes 48 hours for the documents to come to Karachi. So imagine from the document station which has been initiated from the branch, and now just receiving the documents, it takes good 5 days, minimum of 5 days. And then processing at head office and getting the loan disbursed into customer's account would take 7 to 10 to 21 days, depending upon how complicated the case is all about. So what can be the easiest way? The easiest way was to use the technology, was to use the system, and was to convince those individuals who were using this previously obsolete process. So what we did, that we asked the IT to develop a screen in a system, the core banking system, and that system fetches most of the information itself, because these were already existing with the bank customers. They have salary accounts with us. So why ask those information again and again from the customer? and over a click of a button, you scan those documents, and the click of button in a real time, snap, snap, it comes to a office, saving goods 5 days in between, and all those chaudharis sitting in between from branches and regional headquarters. But when we announced this process, when we trained them, the staff, the sales staff, we told all the positives, but the reaction was, we don't want to use this. We are very comfortable in using that manual old obsolete process. This is a cumbersome. You're creating a hassle for us. You're making our lives miserable. This is not going to happen. We're not going to use this process. So what was the plan? The plan was identify the winners, the champions, to promote them in terms of announcing them over the emails, make them their testimonials, make their videos, announce it over the emails, and reward them, like announcing their reward, like so and so relationship managers got 50,000 rupees extra in this month because he used the digital channel. And then few of them, the top performers, we called them in Karachi. And they were given a good protocol, a good party, and a celebration. That's how other people started using that. And for the others who still did not use it, we used one desi tarika that was done now. And it was enforced. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karan. Change, no doubt, it's very hard, but it's very important. And how we can do a little change is we can replace the bottles that we used to take our workplaces on a daily basis with a steel bottle. Not consuming the water bottle. Like today, I went to the market. I was just all alone, but I didn't went to the store and buy a bottle because there was a thought in my mind that it will like increase a single plastic into the environment. I came back home after 2 hours and I had water at my home. So it was just a single thought, and it came when I went with my grandmother to the dentist, and I saw this dispenser, and there were plastic glasses over there. It was like, it usually takes 4 to 5 hours per visit. So first I went there, I had a glass of water, I threw it in the bin. Then after an hour, I went there, I took another glass and I threw it in the bin. Like it was like at least consumption of 3 to 4 plastic glasses per appointment. Then at the next appointment, I bought them cups of paper cups, a bag of paper cups, to tell them that please change your plastic cups to the paper cups. That's how there are like tiny examples that make someone learn about the use of papers. So next speech is Toastmaster Azhar Khan. So I welcome Toastmaster Karim Meghani, his evaluator, to explain the project title of Toastmaster Azhar Khan. Please welcome Toastmaster Karim Meghani.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. My target speaker is TM Azhar Khan, and he is talking about his Dynamic Leadership Pathway Level 1, Project 3, Research and Presenting. And what I would like to know in his speech, I want to see the members will present a well-organized and well-delivered speech on a research topic. He will be speaking about a new topic or known topic to us. It can be humorous, it can be informational, it can be any style the member choose. His speech title is Journey of Advertising. Journey of Advertising, TM Azhar Khan. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karim. Fellow Toastmaster and guests. Advertising is a one word, but it's not a small journey. It's a really huge history. The history of advertising can be traced to ancient civilization. It became a major force in capitalist economics in the mid-century, based primarily on news and magazines. In the 20th century, advertising grew rapidly with the new technologies such as direct mail, radio, television, internet, and mobile devices. Basically, advertising is not only a thing, it may be some kind of image in the mind of the consumer. Advertising start from the stool and on the wall, and then move forward again step by step. So please allow me share screen. Yeah, okay. Now I'm sharing my screen. I'm sharing my screen. Someone please let me know my screen is okay. Great. Thanks. So one by one, slide by slide, I show the picture and some things, and maybe you, inshallah, you will enjoy my presentation. It's a long time back. There's a time tablet mint like this. Just some kind of the wooden and wood and some kind of paper, what should I say, table, and we use as charcoal. I also use in my childhood, but it's 25 years back. But I'm talking about a thousand years back. That was it. It's called tablet, some kind of. Not this, okay. Right now we have it, like our children, we have this kind of tablet, but we use like that. Then move forward the newspaper. It's not easy. We have the advertising has a many changes in the industry, but at the time there was time when brands didn't really exist in the world. They designed like this. No one mentioned the specific logo and call to action and visual illustration. Just look my screen at my screen and understand of graphic designing and each and everything. Basically, over the time, advertising started to look like marketing, and then marketing started to look like being a great company. So one by one, it's evolving. So now I start from the when invented the paper. Chinese has a revolt. They invented the paper, brown paper, 100 years of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ, and they invented the brown paper for the ripping sheet and other usage. After a long time, many years after, Europe gets its first paper mill, and then started the proper newspaper and other information related magazine, other things. Because advertising, if you think about any idea, so we need execution form. Without execution form, I can't explain to my feelings and emotions. Joseph Gutenberg invented the printing press in Germany, 1400 to 40 around. First poster ad in English placed on church doors in London. Some kind of, you look at my screen, in 1472. And then we see the 1730, move on. Benjamin Franklin started using headlines illustration in his newspaper and changed something. They had changed from the typography. Now they were putting some visual illustration, some different ideas. 1741, the first American magazine is published in Philadelphia. Philadelphia has one biggest city in the US, and who created the many literature like newspaper, magazine, around 400 years back. 18th Industrial Revolution started to take place in North America. Basically, advertising, more product need advertising, more people need advertising. 1841, advertising is a profession. First magazine ad, 1844, and first billboard introduced in 1867. 1890s, first postcard introduced in the world, according to research. And 1893, see the Sears, Reebok and Co. issue its first catalog. The Winter Motor Carriage Company places the first magazine ad for a car, 1898. In 90s, advertising began disappearing for the first time in the university, in Northern Western University. In 90s, at the time, many big brand introduced their brand as a proper brand in a newspaper and magazine articles. Many people know the Lifebuoy. In 1900, Unilever hired the JWT and company and advertised to Lifebuoy. So, and around 100 plus that. In 1900, we have change. We can see that they have the change, destructive change. They put the illustration and typography. They design well. In 90s, many people joined this industry and started branding, packaging, and other automobile advertising material, many things. In 1950, the first transition telephone line opens between the New York City and San Francisco. America first radio station, first station, 2nd November 1920. These are mediums. Newspaper, radio, TV, they are the execution mediums for advertising. American has a 12 broadcast station in 1946. 1960, Volkswagen launched the first campaign. Dolden introduced the first creative team, and they officially called to art director and copywriter. It's a senior designer and writer. It's a long journey. McDonald's launched the first commercial. If you want to watch that commercial, search on YouTube McDonald's commercial 1967. And then same thing, 7-Up individually 1968. If you want to watch that commercial, so you search on a YouTube 1968 7-Up commercial. So then 1965 VCPR and VCP, and then it's a fast forward to the recorded ads. Then 1980s computer, IBM introduced a personal computer. And then 1984, Apple launched the Macintosh, and you know about both things. And cell phone reached as market, 1990. 1990s, many companies launched their many brands around the world, especially in Pakistan, and then they started a firefighting scene in the Pakistan especially. And then in 2012, trillion pages on internet. And then now we see the mobile. So we start the stone and charcoal, and from charcoal to now smart mobile advertising. I know that I have very running short of time, otherwise I can, but it's my entire presentation, my end of the presentation. Now advertising has a big journey from start to end. Or I hope so. It's going to move forward. Okay, back to you, Professor Reddy.
TTM Sarfaraz Naseer, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Rusa Kavan. So I would like to welcome Toastmaster Rusa Kavan to explain the project of TTM Sarfaraz Naseer. Please welcome Toastmaster Rusa.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. DTM Sarfaraz will be giving his icebreaker speech. His pathway is engaging humor, and this is his level 1 speech. Please welcome DTM Sarfaraz.
Toastmaster Rusa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
"20 minutes after midnight, the jumbo jet took off from the Karachi International Airport. As a teenage boy, I was sitting in the middle of the airplane. This was my first flight. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. As tears rolled down my cheeks, emphatically, I asked, "Oh God, where is my destiny taking me?" I was sad, scared, and subdued. I was traveling halfway around the world where I had no family members and no childhood friends. In London, we had to change airplanes. I hopped on a bus that was supposed to take us to the airplane. On the bus, I sat next to a doctor from California. He said, "There are several doctors on this flight. We are returning from a medical conference in Africa." Then he asked me, "Where are you going?" I replied, "Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma." He went on, "There is a doctor from Oklahoma on this flight. I will introduce you to him." He gave me his business card. After we took off from the London airport, lunch was served. I had just finished eating when the airplane hit turbulence. A new experience for me. As the plane bounced, I lost my lunch. When the flight attendant came over to clean up the mess, I gave her the doctor's business card and asked her to tell him to come and see me. Instead, the flight attendant announced on the intercom, "Is there a doctor on board? We have a sick passenger." Several dozen doctors got up.
Well,
after we arrived at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York, I got off the airplane and stepped on the American soil for the first time. I entered America with one 30-inch black rollerless suitcase, a small carry-on bag, and a black mini executive suitcase with a bank check for tuition and expenses and one $20 bill. I boarded a plane from New York to Oklahoma City, along with the doctor from Oklahoma. When we arrived at Oklahoma City, he said, "My sister-in-law is coming to pick me up. Tell you what, we will drop you off somewhere where you can spend the night." I was so elated because I had no earthly idea how to find a hotel in the middle of the night. You see, back then, there were no Apple iPhones.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
The next morning, I took a bus from Oklahoma City to Stillwater. It was a 1-hour ride.
Turn on location services. Go to privacy settings. Select location services.
I was the last one
And allow location access.
to get off the bus. A well-dressed young man standing next to the bus asked me, "Is there anyone else on the bus?" I said, "No." He was a university professor. And he said, "I came here to pick up a student from India. It appears that he did not make it. I will drop you off on campus." He gave me a ride, and I thanked my lucky stars, because back then there were no Google Maps for me to find out where the campus is. Can you imagine me lugging a large suitcase? The professor dropped me off at the administration building. I went up to the 3rd floor to the International Student Office. "Hi, I am Sarfaraz Nazir from Pakistan. Welcome, Mr. Nazir. Welcome to America. And thus began my American journey. Ladies and gentlemen, the California doctor who sat on the bus next to me in London, the Oklahoma doctor who gave me a ride to a place where I could spend the night, and the university professor who dropped me off on campus. These three men, did God place them in the right time at the right place just for me? Madam Toastmaster,
Please unmute. Please unmute. You are mute constantly.
No worries. Let Hiba come. Okay, Hiba.
Fellow Toastmasters and guest TM is delivering this presentation, Mastery Level 2 Body Language, Power of Positive Thinking. The duration of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And the objectives of the speech are, there's basically one. The purpose of this project is for the member to deliver a speech awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and define how he will or she will use non-verbal communication when delivering a speech. TM Naveenta, the stage is yours.
So I've shared something. What's it? Just screen share.
Thank you very much for providing me the opportunity to speak. Today was a very good day for me. In the initial stage of the day, I was so excited that today I am going to make a speech and try to deliver it in front of some intellectual people tonight. But unfortunately, things are coming in your way because for 6 months I've been in Toastmasters and I could only attend 6 to 7 sessions just because of workload. And right now, still I am getting some kind of workload, and they are still teasing me to come back and back again. But at the end of the day, because of the power of positive thinking is today my topic. This thing is also apply on me today, because if I will consolidate myself with this gathering for a long time, so definitely, because if you have low confidence, definitely you will have high stress. So that is why let's come on the topic, because this thing also related to our topic, so I wanted to discuss. Because for 30 minutes to 40 minutes, this thing is keep running in my mind. So this is the book written by Norman Vincent Peale in 1952, approximately 70 years ago. And at that time, when he wrote the book, approximately 50 million copy was sold at that time. That was the highest selling book, and right now still this book is changing the life of the people, many people, and still you can consider this book one of the highest selling books in all motivational and self-help books. Mr. Norman Vincent Peale was a pastor and was a motivational speaker as well, and he wrote more than 12 to 13 books. And this is one of the best books we are having and we are discussing right now. It was a very life-changing experience, because you know that in our society, in our society, like in the society in which we are living, like Pakistani society, I can say, we are surviving for the life. We are surviving for the living. We are surviving for the social securities. We are surviving every moment. So as far as the negative thinking is concerned, as far as the backward thinking is concerned, we always inherit because of the condition of our society, the condition of our country, the condition of our city. So this book really helped me a lot. When I start reading that book, I was typical Pakistani guy type. You can say that, but bit by bit, I observe a deep change in me, because if we want to survive in the life with the full passion, with the full confidence, this is the only way that we need to be in good condition while we thinking positively. So let's discuss about the 8 points which this book comprises. So let's discuss about the 8 points. Point number 1 is picture yourself succeeding. Whatever I want to start business, suppose today I'm going to start the business, the first person who is going to let me down is me, due to lack of confidence. So we always picture ourselves as succeeding. We always put the imagination in our mind that one day we are going to celebrate this kind of big success, which is our dream. So the first point is that we always focus and we always picture ourselves succeeding, that we are going to be successful in upcoming days. Think a positive thought. Suppose you get up early in the morning. The first thought should be in your mind is a deeply positive thought. Affirmation is the best tool to apply this kind of strategy. First of all, you always think about positive, that today is going to be a very good day of my life. Today is I'm going to achieve this. Today I'm going to achieve this. So these kind of thoughts must be in your mind when you start your day. The second point is minimize obstacles. Like never think about obstacles. Enjoy the destination. Never think about the route you are going to adopt to achieve this destination. Always think about the destination, that how you are going to enjoy when you reach at the destination. This is very important. Suppose I am going to come in Toastmaster right now. I am thinking that today I have to leave the office at 6:30. Then I have to drive along about 30 to 40 minutes, stuck in traffic jam, and then I am going to reach to the Toastmaster. I am not thinking about that, what kind of benefit I'm going to get if I will be reaching at Toastmaster. So it's our mentality that we always focus on the obstacle, we never focus on the destination. We have to avoid this. Do not attempt to copy others. Never try to copy the people. Like definitely ideas are very important. Like we have got many ideas in our religion, and other people has got many ideas in their religion. But we have to impress with our personality. We have to be very careful. We have to change ourselves. We have to idealize ourselves. And we have to put some kind of betterment in our personality by day-to-day working. So this is the only way that they do not attempt to copy other people. But with a counselor, definitely is going to pay. You have to pay him or her, but definitely she or he has got the better knowledge than you. So definitely you can find out the runtime problem, the solution of the runtime problem. Hire a counselor if you need for the motivation, for the negative thought you are having in your mind. Hire a counselor and work with it. Develop a strong self-respect. I am Vajra, and inner me is also Vajra. But the inner me is impressed with the multiple people, like the bigger actors, the bigger like we have to maintain that kind of character in ourselves, so the people, the inner you would impress with you. That is the only way that you can gain your confidence. If your inner you will be impressed by you, so definitely on every path of life, no one can stop you because you are very, very self-confident at that time. Affirmation is the exercise that in the early morning you have to repeat 15 minutes exercise that you are looking good, you are a great father, you are a great son, you are a great individual. This is the 15-minute exercise. So definitely this exercise will rotate for the whole day in your mind. And if you are going to sleep before 15 minutes, that you just lay down on your pillow and start thinking about every aspect of your life. Like, I am beautiful. I've got hair, I've got eyes, I can smell. I have got 2 hands, I've got 2 feet. Like, always remember about the blessing of God you are having with you. Like, we are always worried about our deafness. We are always worried about that why we are facing the difficulties. We are always thinking negatively. We have to push ourselves, and because in our subconscious mind we have got multiple thoughts. So there is an army of the negative thought. So we have to put the soldier one by one, the positive thought in our mind, so definitely they can defeat. Always think that you receive the power from the God, because prayers has got the power. Think that you are receiving the power from God. You pray to God that this kind, because the God door is that the more you negative in front of God, you will receive the positive. You say, I am so deep, I am so down, I am finished. God, you can help me. You are saying the negative things, but you are receiving the power. You are receiving the positivity from the God. So prayers, always trust from the prayers. Religion is something else, but always trust from the prayer, because in prayers you are doing prayer with conviction. So these are the 8 points I want to discuss with you, even though I am disqualified. But really I wanted to speak today because I really make a lot of sacrifice for today's speech. So this is the thing I want to add, that always implement these kind of 8 points which I discussed with you and try to implement into your life. Definitely you are going to find out the very, very positive change. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sayed Bajaj. So positive thinking is very important. Although we are very well occupied with the negative energy surrounds us, but the only thing that keeps us going is positive thinking. So even I am taking some clinical psychologist session from a clinical psychologist. It does feel that everybody around here is normal and happy, but I guess our emotions are to be spoken, to feel happy, to feel sad, to have some fears, to have anxiety, to feel anxious, to be angry. Everything should have a right amount of balance in life. So that is important, not suppressing your emotions. It's good to have emotions, and seeking help is the best possible way to improve in life. So the next is Toastmaster Farhan Heather.
Okay,
and
Mariam Afsab Kidbai she's delivering, yes, she's delivering.
Okay, so our next speech is by Toastmaster Mariam Aftab, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Ali Ashar Anjum. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Ali Ashar Anjum to explain the project of Toastmaster Mariam.
Evening, Toastmasters and guests. My target speaker, Toastmaster Mariam Aftab, is delivering her project of level 1, research and presenting. The purpose statement of the project is: the purpose of this project for the member learn and review basic research methods and researched speech on any topic. So then the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, Toastmaster Mariam Afra.
Thank you. Before the timer starts, I just want everyone, if you know, I ask you a question. If you know the answer, just clap your hand like this so that I can hear your clap rather than naming it. I know. Okay. So now the timer can start. So how many of you know in the Mamun Haq? Can I hear your clapping, please? Very good. Babar Azam. Babar Azam. Okay. Kalimullah. Samiullah. And Goshpi Awari. That's good. Now, sports have been going on for centuries. The name I have listed were all associated with the sports industry. Now, sports have been going on for industry. With the progression of time, various sports have grown around the world. According to Encyclopedia 2003, there are 800 indigenous games. However, Pakistan is dominated by one and only cricket. That's why you have guessed in the Mamun Haq. So now, cricket is a colonial game that landed in India with East Indian Company. And from that point forward, its presence has marked, no doubt, some historical movements, like we have one. And now it is the most popular game in Pakistan. Now, many sports have introduced Pakistan around the globe. We cannot forget squash, hockey, and definitely cricket. We can say that. Well, we have been participating in Olympic Games since 1948. And we have won 10 medals. Among them, the last was in 1992. Well, it's mind-boggling to see how our sport industries had declined so fast. If we talk about our national game, does everyone know our national game is not cricket? Let me just remind you a little more. It's hockey, very good. Clapping for you, but later on. It's my speech time. Well, there was a time in the past it was hard to imagine Hockey Cup final without Pakistan in it. But now, unfortunately, after winning several Olympic medals, Champions Trophy, we failed to even qualify after 2012 London Olympics, which is really sad. Let's blame us also, that we as a nation at large have ignored hockey. After Pakistan has won World Cup 1992, the glamours and better financial awards and rewards have grabbed all the attentions towards cricket. Hence, cricket has started replacing hockey in schools and colleges. And from that point, and we can say that starting of that point, the hockey have been ignored, or maybe there was a less promotion for hockey. If we move towards other sports also, we have undoubtedly ruled the game of squash. Who know Hashim Khan? He was a pioneer in 1994. Won all Indian championships, British Open squash several times. And then in 1947, he came to Pakistan. So we take all those credit. Azam Khan, I'm sure you all know Jansher Khan and Jahangir Khan. When I was just going through my speech and all, I was just correcting some points. There was an interview that I go through of Jahangir Khan. He said, there was a time when we used to have 7 players in top 10 in the world, while today we have only 1 in the top 50. I think this is that must be related to cricket then. Well, winning medals and success is not a particular sport. It's not miracle. It just not happen. It takes years of hard work, commitments, and dedication. Football, despite being the most well-known game in the world. Let me tell you about Kalimullah. Why I was asking about him. We don't have any footballer. We don't know any footballer that represents our country. Let me tell you about Kalimullah. He's doing his best right now. A young boy from Balochistan, from the harsh, he has been playing on the harsh grounds of Balochistan. He became the captain of national football team in 2014. He has also signed Republic of United Soccer League, USL, for 4-month contract. He's the first Pakistan-born player to ever play against an English Premier League team. He also holds a record for the country by scoring 100 career goals. How many of us know him? How we have appreciated him? How we have encouraged him? Our media also plays an important role in that. Samiullah, the next name that I called upon. Let me tell you about Salimullah. He's a 25-year-old athlete winner of bronze medal of 100-meter race and 400-meter race in South Asian Games in 2019. Do we know what he's doing? He's self-proud to feed his family. The story that I have gone through. Unfortunately, due to lack of proper funding and infrastructure, many athletes and sports persons have to compromise on their fitness. Rather than sharing the recipe of success with his children, he must be sharing the recipe of plow right now, which is sad, a sad reality. Mr. Asif won 2019 world title, has appealed to the government for the cash prizes as it was guaranteed to all the medal holders. Here, why I have just naming all these sports and I have been doing that. Because these sports have been recognized around the world, around the globe. Here we have PSL where we ask the foreigners and other countries, cricketers to come and play with us. We have been promoting sports, cricket, around the world. But what about other sports? How they can go beyond only being a sports, and how can we make the sport an industry? Why we are not thinking about it? We can improve economically. Why we are only concerned about World Cup? Why different teams are just ignoring us? They leave us undoubtedly, unshamedly, and this is the reality. Because we are only in cricket. We are not supporting other sports also, and we as a nation also like that. Here, I would like to say that at least as a nation, we should not only support cricket, but other sports also. And government should do that too. If we not only support the sports, but also economically, it can boost. And obviously, we can represent Pakistan in a better way. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Maryam Aftab. Next speech is by Toastmaster Farhan Haider, and I would like to invite Toastmaster Rabia Tishan as evaluator to speak about the role of project manager.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Naveenta. Today, my target speaker is Toastmaster Farhan Haider. Okay, so he will be giving his project Inspire Your Audience. His speech title is Dreams Come True. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Farhan Haider, Dreams Come True.
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. What a day. What a big day, 24th October 2021. The whole country had been waiting this day for ages. Yes, Pakistan beat India with good margin. Dreams came true. What an emphatic win. So big round of applause for this enormous victory. Nobody was expecting that this is going to happen. Pakistan outclassed Indian team in every department. Before the match commenced, I thought that it would be a one-sided match. Because according to the statistics, India is way better than Pakistani team.
They have plenty of superstars like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant, Jadeja, Bumrah, and there are so many names. And they were playing IPL in Dubai before T20 World Cup. So they got used to with the conditions. And to be very honest, in last 5 to 7 years, they have raised their standards and they are dominating in the international cricket. On the other hand, we had never won any match against India in T20 World Cup. And we all know that Pakistani team is always unpredictable. Sometimes we chase big targets very easily and out in a small total. So basically, we were underdogs, and nobody was expecting that we can bounce back. I was a bit confused that I should watch match or not. But at 7 p.m., I turned on the TV half-heartedly, and what I saw, I was astonished. The whole ground was jam-packed with blue-colored jerseys. 80% of crowd was supporting Indian team. The whole media was sure that this would be a one-sided match and India would win very easily. But things did not turn out in favor of India. Unexpectedly, from starting, Pakistan was leading in every department. Wow, what a spell of Shaheen Shah Brady. He was beaten. He took 2 major wickets in first 2 overs. And that time, I felt that Pakistan had won the match. Fielding was superb. We did not miss any catch. And if we talk about batting, what an opening partnership between Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. They were converting singles into double, and they were also hitting wickets. And while chasing the target throughout the batting, they were not looking any kind of panic under pressure, and they chased the target very easily. Thank God. So congratulations, Pakistan. What else could have been a better reply to the whole world that you cannot demoralize us? Indian board is one of the richest board in international cricket, and they always try to dictate their terms. They do not want to see the revival of international cricket in Pakistan. They have clearly given message to all international players that if you will play PSL, you will not allow to participate in IPL. What happened with us? Last month, New Zealand back out from tour in last moment with lame excuse, security risk. And they tried to humiliate us in front of the whole world. But despite all obstacles, all politics, we have proven to the whole world that we are determined. You cannot put us down. We are fighters, and nobody should dare to make this mistake again. Fortunately, Pakistan has won 2 big matches against India and New Zealand, and it seems that they are going to qualify in semi-final. So I'm looking forward to see this kind of spectacular performance in upcoming matches, and we should keep praying that we will win this World Cup, inshallah. Over to you.
Thank you for an amazing speech and make us remember all the victorious events that we have been through on 24th of October. So our next speaker is Toastmaster Rabia Tishan, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Imran Rana. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Imran Rana to tell about the project of Toastmaster Rabia.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening. Today, Toastmaster Rabia Ishan forgot her speech title. Okay, okay. Toastmaster Rabia Ishan is going to deliver her project. What's the name of your pathway? Presentation mastery. She will be doing. She will be at level 2, and she will be delivering a project called Identify Your Communication Style. So, Toastmaster Rabia Ishan, she is an amazing Toastmaster, passionate Toastmaster, and a philanthropist. So let's welcome Toastmaster Rabia Ishan to deliver our project. So please welcome Toastmaster Rabia Ishan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran, for that wonderful introduction and also reminding me that I do not have a speech title. This is more of a impromptu speech because if it wasn't for Toastmaster Imran's persuasive push today, I wouldn't have attempted this project. Understanding your communication style. The topic can be communication style for a housewife. You all can give me a topic after you have listened to my speech. So this is the project I have been delaying since I have started. I've completed my level 5, I've completed my level 3, and this is level 2's first project, and I haven't even attempted doing it. And every week I just try to push it forward because it was very difficult for me to understand this and to pinpoint one communication style for myself. I am, if you know my personality, I have always been, since my childhood, a very energetic and a bubbly kind of person. I'm always the one who wants to start the conversation. I want to make everyone talk. Even in my university years, I used to be very emphatically wanted the most shy people to come and say something, even because many of the people are very not confident enough to talk when it comes to in a public gathering or in even amongst friends. Because they were in university, when you come to university, like you're from various different backgrounds. So I was the one who was always initiating conversations. I got married when I was in university in 2003. So I kept on going like I was before my married life. I started conversations even after my marriage. I was bubbly like I was before. I wanted to give advices and I wanted to guide people even if they didn't needed them. It was after a few months that I realized that now my actions and my communication style does not involve only my personality, but it reflects back to my upbringing, to my parents, and even it involves my husband now. So anything I say or I do, or I'm guiding or I'm making initiative to make a conversation, it has countless eyes on me. I have countless eyes on me, judging on my upbringing and my relations. So from the initiative communication style, I tried to go towards the social communication style, which was to listen and take feedback and calm down a bit, try to be quiet, try to look around and observe what other people are thinking and keep my ideas to myself. It's not necessary to always say what comes into your mind. I can stop and wait for feedback from the audience, from the people I'm talking to. I continued this style of communication for many years. But there came a time in my life when I realized I'm not getting what I want in my life because of this type of communication. And after quite a lot of time, after 15 or so years, I thought if I need to get something done, if I need to and for my children, as in fact, because they were growing older, I need to have some direct style of communication. I need to make my points clear, and I don't need to wait to take feedback for every topic. I have to be firm and assertive and not waste time. This style of communication made me look like a bit demanding, and it made me look like that I'm getting bossy, but it made me do the work and not waste time. Even when I wanted to join the Citizens Foundation after being a completely family-oriented and homely housewife for 15, 16 years, it was the direct style of communication and the direct steps I took which made me accomplish my long dream of doing some philanthropic work which could change the world or which could change my nation, which would change my nation. Then sometimes in your life, and especially if you're living in a huge joint family systems, the analytical type of communication also comes in handy because you have proofs and you have evidence to support what you are saying. And this thing comes with wisdom and with knowledge and with time. So if anyone asks me what my type of communication style is, and if you prefer any communication style, I'll always say the initiative type. That just go in and start talking and invite everyone and have fun. But with age and with wisdom and with knowledge and experience, after getting married, you come to realize that your communication style depends on the audience you're talking to and the situation. So your communication style varies according in which environment you are, what the situation is, and who you are talking to. Thank you so much. That's it. Any suggestions for the topic?
You and your communication styles.
Thank you, Toastmaster Navya Nishan. I wonder why women are always indirect with their communication skills. Men are always direct. So I was just reading a post on Facebook say the gajra wala come and the husband asked wife that do you want these gajras? And she said no. Then she was like, who will tell all the husbands that whatever wife, anytime she says no, it means yes. So here comes the end of our prepared speeches with a lot of fun, laughter, positive thinking, and smiles. So our next session begins.
Ask for the voting.
Please kindly vote. The link will be sent to your WhatsApp.
Before voting, we need to announce who are disqualifiers. Okay.
Primarily, we would like to know who the disqualifiers.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Naveenta. We have two disqualifiers. First one is Toastmaster Azhar Khan. He used 9 minutes and 18 seconds. And the second one is Toastmaster Wajahat. He took 9 minutes and 51 seconds. So let's see what the president has to say. Why not we disqualify Ghulam Qadir along with the mentor? Okay.
Let's start with the table topic master. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir for the very best and impromptu session of table topics. My sister's very favorite table topic session.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. So I have just received a secret message from the PPE, and the secret message, please decode me. It was okay. So I'll try to restrict it to 4. So the theme of the meeting is life, live and let live. So I've tried to keep the theme in the table topic. So the first topic which I'll be assigning to the guest Fahim, and let me first explain how it works. Table topic. I'll be assigning a role, assigning a speech, a title to you, and on that title, you'll have to speak minimum of 1 minute.
He's a Toastmaster.
He's a Toastmaster?
Yes.
My apologies. He's not a Toastmaster.
Oh, sorry. I take my words back.
So I'll be assigning you topic, and you have to speak for 1 minute, maximum of 2 minutes, and you can take a grace of 30 seconds. Like 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you have to cut it off if you have to qualify for the voting. So your topic is fine. What was your happiest day of your life and why? It is yours. And the word of the day, you have to use empathetic.
Thank you, Toastmaster Grandfather. Very pleased to be here. It's a lovely outing here. I think it's a brilliant topic. I could speak for about 20 minutes if you really wanted. I think there have been so many days in my life where I've thought, okay, this is my best day because I've achieved this or because I've always wanted this. But I think one day that I can remember very vividly is the day I qualified with my ACCA in the UK. I went in the UK in 2004 with undergraduate. That things went really, really bad. I got the very next day, I was like, why am I here? It's raining outside, it's dark. The people that I came with, none of them are here. They're all outside working. I was 19 years at that time. I was like, no, I just don't want to be here. At that time, I didn't have a mobile phone, and at home there was no landline. So I went out. I had some coins in my pocket and put the quarter in. Spoke to my father. I wanted to cry, but I didn't cry. I wanted to cry with my mother. I didn't cry. I came home, and things went one after another, but it kind of worked out. And fast forward 5 years. In 2009, I received my certificate ACCA. I came for this. Well, I didn't come for this, but it kind of planned out very well. So, that was the best, happiest day of my life.
You must be very happy. So let me now invite our one of the members, Toastmaster Shama, online. Toastmaster Shama, are you with us?
Toastmaster Club, yes.
So let me assign you a topic. Amongst all your relationships, who is the dearest to you and why? I repeat, amongst all your relationships, who is dearest to you and why? The word of the day is the empathic.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for such an emotional, sentimental topic. Among all the relationships, who is the dearest to me so far? Relationships, when we talk of relationships, we normally think of family. We normally think of parents, siblings, distant cousins. What we don't think of relationships is relationship as a human with other human beings. And when I say that the best of the relationships, I'm not negating that parents had not been a full support as they should be in a relationship, or my siblings were not as huge a support as they should be in a relationship, or any cousins or any other family members. But I want to point out that sometimes when we are least expecting someone to be the best relationship with us are our mentors. And the mentors, when I say mentors, I specifically don't say someone with a label of having a mentor. So if I say the best relationship that I could have with someone was someone from my childhood days when I was in school, that was my maths teacher. And that maths teacher had always been my support with just one statement that she said once. And she said that whatever you want to do, you don't need to specify clearly your goals and objectives. Just go one step at a time. Whatever you want to do, you can keep changing it.
Whenever you want to feel and change things according to whatever you want to do, you will get the test. And so I still consider the best relationship that I could ever recall is with that maths teacher as a mentor. Over to you, Toastmaster, table topic master.
So next, I'm going to invite our Toastmaster Ali Zarban. Toastmaster Ali Zarban, your topic is, if your neighbor is constantly bothering you, how will you react? Stage is yours.
It's a difficult topic because I have some very nice memories with my neighbors. One day, what happened? I was cooking rice, and no one was at my home. I was alone, and I put some rice in oil, and I lit up the stove. Then I went to watch a movie. Then the movie starts, and I forget what happens, what is happening. So suddenly I saw black clouds coming out of kitchen, and I was shocked. Then I ran out of my home and I shouted, can someone help me?" My neighbor came from his house. He came to the kitchen and he helped me with the fire, and then he suddenly fell on the ground and he had a fracture. So I think that neighbors are very good people. They bother sometimes, but most of the time they help us. Thank you.
For last topic, Mr. Vicky. So the last one, I'll invite Toastmaster Ali Ashar. Toastmaster Ali Ashar, your topic is, what does friendship mean to you? And today is imperative.
Good evening, Toastmasters. During my, I am 24 and during this journey of my life, I made lots of wonderful people. My parents, my relatives, and my friends. And friends are those people who I actually opted or choose. So the thing is, there are 7.3 billion people around, and I opted, or they opted, as a friend. Usually, there are certain criteria that I need this type of friend, this type of friend, this type of friend. Actually, we are in a hunt of a friend who is just a reflection of our personality, or someone who can neutralize our personalities. If I am not good at this thing, so he or she should be good at that thing, so we can join together and do our stuff in a very good, perfect way. So friendship is a relation, or as you all know that I love chemistry. So friendship is like a covalent bonding. The mutual sharing of respect, needs, things, and each and every bit. Next, all.
Table topic session.
Ask for the voting.
Oh, yes. Please, Daima, allow Daima to speak. Daima, has everyone qualified?
I'm pleased to announce that everyone is qualified.
Please vote the poll. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karan, for a basic table topic session that reminded us of our friendship and the things we are grateful for. So here comes our next session, that is the evaluations. So I would like to invite our general evaluator, Toastmaster Heba.
Toastmasters and guest general evaluation is the third part of the Toastmaster session and third of evaluation is something which is very important as we get to know where we stand as a speaker. Without a good evaluation, we cannot get to know our weaknesses and strengths. And a good evaluation has to overcome it. General evaluation is a very important element of Toastmasters, without which the entire session remains incomplete. General evaluation is basically divided into three parts. The first is the perspective evaluation. The second part is the table topic evaluation, and the third part consists of the facilitator support. Okay, for the first part, we have the prepared speech section. So I will be calling the prepared speakers, evaluators first. So the first speaker was TM Karim Megani, and I will call upon his evaluator, the DTM Sarfaraz Nazir, to give the evaluation.
Madam General Evaluator, ladies and gentlemen, and especially you, Toastmaster Karim Megani. It is my honor to evaluate the speech that you delivered during this meeting. First, I am going to tell you why I liked your presentation, and then I will present some improvements for your future presentations. Your objective was to lead a panel discussion. You met your objective. I liked your presentation because you opened with a video. The video set the stage for the topic that was you were going to discuss, and it also got our attention. I also liked your presentation because you told us the process that you used to select your panel members, and you also introduced your panelists. You did an outstanding job in introducing and selecting your panelists, because they did not have any problem answering the questions or leading the discussion. Because sometimes during panel discussion, some of them have difficulty answering or they get off the subject. You kept them on target. The third thing that I liked about your presentation was that while your panelists were discussing or responding to the questions, you did not interrupt them. Some panelist leaders have the habit of interrupting because they want to be the star of the panel discussion. And now, something to improve upon based on my personal experience. You were professionally dressed, looking like $1 million successful businessman. I noticed many times you held a 2 rupees ballpoint pen. The pen was a distraction because sometimes you held it in front of your face. I would suggest that you either lose the pen Or if you are going to hold a pen to write something, then find an expensive pen that goes with your image. I also noticed in your presentation that you had several R's. I would suggest that when you complete your sentence, simply close your mouth, think for a moment, and then open your mouth and start talking so that you do not fill the empty void with R's and ums. In summary, I liked your presentation because of your video, your panelists, and the fact that you did not interrupt. Next time, lose the pen. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Anyhow, everyone please forget about mediums and branches. Forget that it ever happened. I seem to have misplaced my notes, which is very expected. Okay. Toastmaster Ulamba, change management. From virtual, from real to digital matter, from manual to digital. How appropriate, because this is also a transition from manual to digital. And even though some people had great degree of difficulty with that transition, they still do. Ironically, one of them was our speaker today, Toastmaster Ulamba Karan. But now we're back in the hybrid mode. Think about those people who are resisting the change. You were very assured. I must say that this is one of your presentations where you were more assured than usual because it was perhaps your area of expertise. And the depth of feeling you associated with this project was very visible. And that actually enabled you to speak fluently and passionately. You fulfilled the project's objective, which was to communicate change. Although I would have liked that you would have related that change to audience members as well. You succeeded in conveying the magnitude of the change to your colleagues and employees. But what does it mean for the end user, and what direction does it point to for you and me and everyone else? That would have been welcome. You had a really great story at the start. And again, your passion about the story. Heaven knows I would have raised hell if I missed eggs at breakfast and instead had to eat those cookies. I don't know how you contain yourself. Or maybe you're telling a modified version of the story. Anyhow, you were very animated and you were lively. And then somehow you went from manual to digital when you got to your actual project. You became noticeably less animated and less expressive in the transition. So while you were talking about the project, it was reasonably expressive because it had a reasonable amount of voice modulation, but maybe not adequate. And certainly not as much as you had in the beginning. So next time when you're doing a transition like that, focus on how can you bring the same level of animation to your actual meat of the speech. You displayed good vocal variety throughout this speech, but not in the portion where you were talking about the project. Your speech had exceptionally good structure. So it started with an intro, a very good lead-in, and very good transition. And the way you detailed the project was spectacular as well. Just a little more expression is needed when you're telling about the project. If you don't feel it, find some way to feel it. And secondly, your ending was quite abrupt, perhaps due to timing. You used some Urdu words that could have been provided. But overall, you've met the project objectives spectacularly. Congratulations, and over to you, General.
Azhar Khan. I call upon TM Karan to give his translation. TM Karan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
TM Azhar Khan, your speeches are always very, it's always very interesting because you have a beautiful smile at your face every time. Every time you come on the stage, you have a very beautiful smile and you're telling us a story, you're telling us something with a beautiful smile. Today your speech was basically you have to research something and you have to present it. And you took the topic advertising. When I was listening to advertising, I remember my MBA days. Because I did my MBA also in marketing and advertising. And I was just thinking that the journey of advertising will remind my college days, my university days. You went through from the ancient history to the modern history, you went from a tablet to an iPad in the end. But I think that this whole research thing and the timing along allocation for this particular project, you have to match it. 5 to 7 minutes and advertising journey. That's the big subject to cover in 5 to 7 minutes. So if I would be in your position, probably I will put it in buckets. Okay, from the early ancient times till you talk about Chinese paper, you talk about Jesus Christ time, all the time, all things can come in one bucket. Then this happens in this. Then you come to another bucket, and then you say that in the modern times what happened, in the 18th century what happened, in the Industrial Revolution what happened, then what happened in the 19th century. So you will be in 5 to 7 minutes, you will be able to deliver the whole journey. You use the PowerPoint presentation, that was wonderful. I love the PowerPoint presentation, but some explanation was missing. When you put the first tablet, I just can't understand what is it. Because, images can attract audience attention also. So when people are looking at your images, they are asking questions within themselves. What is this? Did I see it somewhere? Did I see this thing somewhere? Then you're putting dates on the profile. People are looking at this date also. In fact, I was writing the dates also in my notes. That you talk about this, talk about this, and it was a long, several days were there. So just for your next project, I will just recommend you that do your speeches when you select a research subject, select your timing accordingly also. That how you will cover in 5 to 7 minutes in both subjects. Otherwise, you're energetic, you're smiling all the time. So love your project, wish you all the best for your future work. Over to you, Janivali.
Toastmaster Urusa, you are called for your evaluation.
Okay. Thank you so much, General Evaluator. DTM Sarfraz, I must commend you. You gave an icebreaker speech that kept me hooked, I must say, from the get-go. As soon as your airplane took off, I was on board with you. I was actually able to visualize that teenage boy, his fears, his apprehensions. Most of the such journeys, they have wonderful ends, and yours, DTM Sarfraz, took us on a ride, I must say, with all your memories. What I really loved about your speech was that you had really short, crisp, and vivid sentences. You delivered them with clarity, and each idea you shared with us just once, and your story then moved on. It was just perfect package of storytelling. You had a very, very catchy opening. You showed us instead of telling us what happened, and then you had timely use of humor, like lost my lunch with hand gestures. It was really perfectly done. What could have been improved in your speech? Maybe a little bit of voice modulation. What I missed was when you were telling us about the conversation you had with the doctor. Maybe a little bit more voice modulation would have told us that there was a person you and then there was a person doctor. So that could have been improved a little bit. Other than that, you had a really, really focused style of storytelling, and I really, really enjoyed the whole story from the takeoff to your university, and it was really very, very well done. Thank you so much for sharing that icebreaker. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Now for the speaker, that was TM Mariam Aftab Tiswai. I called upon her evaluator, TM Arya Sharan.
Thank you so much. My type is speaker, Toastmaster and Mariam Aftab discuss sports, and unfortunately, in our country, sports just usually mean as cricket. And since 1992, we all are just Lord cricket, and that's why other sports I not get those attractions, and that's why our sports sector is dead. This topic is quite touching to me because it has a history. That's why we love it. Because during the British rule, we want to be like that, and that's why we are following the same path. Toastmaster American, you started with a question, and you use a very unique style that to get the response of all of us, that is of clapping. That was a genius trick to grab the attention of audience. Then you use those names throughout your speech that help us to relate and connect it with you during your full speech. You use facts, figures, names, and also come up with the speech of each sports where you can improve. When you was laboring by sitting, you can, if you were laboring by standing and use hand gestures for sports like cricket, hockey, etc., that will give a good respect. And you can use more fact figures that the percentage of population we have loving cricket. And overall, you did a great job, and congratulations for fulfilling the objectives of your project. Over to you, Rajat.
Okay, the next speaker was TM Karan, and I called upon his evaluator, TM Raja Deshpande.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Toastmaster Karan. Toastmaster Farhan, what an amazing speech today, and I must say that you fulfilled the purpose of the project, which was to inspire the audience. You chose a topic which we are already inspired by. So that was a very smart move on that part by choosing the topic, because you have to keep in mind the audience you will be dealing with. So amazing first step over there. Secondly, I must say you were so well prepared. You knew your speech, and even we didn't at any time felt that you were hesitating or you didn't know any of the sentences or any facts or figures. You were amazingly prepared throughout the speech. One more thing which I liked about your speech today was the words you used. You used a variety of very interesting words, which I can tell you in your section. I've written in that part. Your vocal variety was amazing. You had a very amazing relation with the audience. You were not bothered by the audience. You were very confident, and your comfort level was amazing with the audience. You can improve a bit on your eye contact with the audience, because at times it feels like you were only watching few of the people. So you could move here and sometimes watch this side of the audience, or you could move here and watch this side of the audience. One thing more which I think you can work on is the pauses. Try to bring pauses in your speech. If you ask a question in between your speech, ask the question, take a pause. Let the audience try to answer it, but before they answer it, you can continue the speech. But do give that important pause in between your speeches. You were moving, you were using the stage, but it was not purposeful. So it felt like you were just moving for the sake of moving. You were not moving when you wanted to make a point. For example, if you want to engage, because we have a camera audience now as well. So you're watching the audience, but when you have to make a point, it comes to the camera also. So you use your footsteps purposefully, not just aimlessly and trying to walk here and there. These are the things which you can work on. And it was an amazing speech, and I really loved the phrases you used. One lethal word. It was a lethal baton or something. You used amazing words today. So kudos to you for using amazing words. Back to you, Jen.
Second speaker was TM and I was his evaluator. TM Majahat, who spoke on a topic that we all try to find and cling on to in our daily lives. The power of positive thinking can have a very good effect on our life, that it has to pick out the better you in an individual. Power of positivity also helps you become a more happy-go-lucky person, and especially during the past 1 year and 8 months during this pandemic, the power of positivity has played a very crucial role in a lot of individuals' lives. Okay, during your speech, I found good clarity and confidence that you displayed throughout your speech. And I also thought that you had good eye contact during the time you spoke, and I found you constantly looking at the audience. I'll start with you. During your speech, I found good clarity and confidence that you displayed through the time you spoke. Then you had good eye contact that you displayed, which I found, because I found you constantly looking at the audience in a U-shaped manner. And then you had good body and hand gestures that you expressed yourself during your speech. Which you used to express yourself. The audience were quite aware about what you were talking about. And also I found you quite comfortable during the time you spoke. I could detect no sign of hesitation or nervousness. And then since you constructed your speech with good relevant examples that you quoted in your speech, the audience were quite interested in what you had to say. Okay, there were quite a lot of purposeful movements, and I found you constantly, having good hand and body gestures, and also covering the speaking area, which you should have. And however, like every other speech, there were some areas of improvement. First, you should have incorporated quite a bit too much at times, so that should have been avoided, and that comes under unintentional movement. Overall, it was a pretty good and well-delivered speech with slight adjustments in your next speech. You definitely are on the way to becoming a better speaker. Thank you. Last speaker, I call upon his evaluator, TM Naveenta.
Thank you very much, Judge Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Very good evening. There are two kinds of speakers. First one are the nervous one, second one are the bias. But today we found the third category, and they are honest and simple. Toastmaster Rabia, you delivered an amazing, outstanding speech, and we should give you a big round of applause. You started with a humor that is, I've completed level 5, but I'm unable to complete, deliver this project. From that sentence, we realize that when you discuss that you are an initiative person, you always don't wait for anyone to just go and start discussion. From that sentence, it is clear that you are that sort of person. Then the best point of the strong point of your speech that you are a very lively person, and it was reflected on your speech. Your body language was perfectly in line, and your confidence level is outstanding. When you were showing open arm gestures, and you were using the stage, and you were having an eye contact with us, that's literally outstanding. You bring so much humor into speech that I would suggest that this you can convert it into audience plus as a humor speech as well. There was a humor about that 15 to 17 years I was with the initiative style, then I got married, then my speaking style was changed to social, and finally when you were lacking these, you were giving tasks and you were not completed, then you changed your from socializing to direct communication style. So it was the best way to explain the style. Overall, throughout your speech, you were pretty much confident. Since it was an extensive speech, what you could have done, just a little bit work on your content. Content was abrupt. You can work on that. Plus, you were constantly moving, so you need to move purposefully. So that will create a good impact. Overall, an outstanding speech. That's all. And congratulations on level 2 and year 12.
Thank you.
Now for the second session, it was a
Ask for the qualification. All the evaluators are qualified.
Okay, the second
Yes.
session was the table topic session, so I call upon the table topic evaluator to present the speaker. 3 minutes, 1 second. 2 seconds.
No worries, no worries.
Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Without further, let's start with a very short number of speakers who were given opportunity on account of the long list of speakers today. The first speaker was Toastmaster Fahim. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Did you receive his renewal?
Yes, managed to start in a very fabulous manner.
there was little disturbance with your hands like clasping, which is obviously happens with the speakers because everyone gets nervous while speaking in public. What is required that is to apply the techniques so that the audience could not get note of nervousness. Toastmaster Feeling, your start was very positive and happiest day perhaps was your topic, and then you explained how far people met their happiest days, and then you appropriately figured out your past journey which you went through your studies at UK, which brilliantly reflected the question you were put on. I think for the sake of improvement, what we should try on is to leave your hands free and to try to synchronize your hands movement with the idea you are communicating. That is simple. I'm sure the moment you become start learning these precious things while being the Toastmaster. The second speaker was a Toastmaster, Sama. I'm sure she could be listening for Toastmaster Sama. You cleverly managed your beginning. You started explaining how mostly people figure out while they are asked about the relationship, like the family relationships, parental relations. It was well to the point. I observed your hands movement was very much balanced and with the you speak. What I would suggest for your future improvement, maybe to give a sort of voice modulation, to give jumps, ups and downs while emphasizing that you want to be emphatic out of stress on one point or the other during my speech. Let's move over to the next speaker, which is Toastmaster Ali Zargan. Problems given by neighbor. You also successfully tried to manage your nervousness like this and this and like this, which is very obvious and not a problem. The technique you can cover it is to look into your eyes. I have tried this one, and I thought I learned quite a lot from that. And you successfully managed to approach towards upper light and then finished. Smooth. So it's also a technique how to pass time effectively so that people could not get note of it unless you can manage. Toastmaster Ali Ashar. Right future.
He's completing his DTM.
You also successfully tried to pass the given time and highlight and cover the topics and light how to explain the criteria. Then when people speak about how to engage in friendship, how to determine success points, success of friendship. I would like to advise you to get yourself deeply engaged in relationship with others. And try to look deep into their eyes. Cover areas which you need to perform. I'm sure I have not left anybody.
Now for the short session, this is the time for the facilitators report. I call for the grammarian to give her report.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Toastmaster Heba. So the word of the day today was emphatic, and I noticed
grammarian.
Carry on.
I'm giving both the reports right now. The distinguished Toastmasters, Sir Faraz Naseeb and Shamsuddin used it, and I even used it. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone else who used it. Okay. For the grammarian report, we had quite a lot of wonderful sentences today, but due to the shortage of time, I think very few. Snowball. At the one of the Toastmasters used the word snowball when explaining the quick progress of events. So it was a very good word. Condone and act, the crust of the discussion. Then we had quite a few words from Toastmaster Farhan. We were the underdogs, bounced back half-heartedly, one step at a time. Another Toastmasters use neutralize our personalities. Some things which everyone should keep in mind when you are talking about the past tense. Please use the past tense verb. When I start reading the book, when I started reading the book. We have bigger actors, we have famous actors. All in all, it was a good meeting when concerning the grammatical usage of words. Thank you.
Now I call for the timer to give his report.
I've already given my report, so please proceed.
Okay. So now I call upon the art counter.
Yes. First, the good news. I haven't classified the filler words according to their type. I've just counted them in number. Bad news. This is our second longest meeting ever in terms of content. So the report is correspondingly long. But I'll try to keep it short. I'm like, Toastmaster of the day used 15 filler words, and her dominant filler words were so, I guess. Toastmaster Hiba Reis Khan during the jokes used 2 filler words. Project 1, the introducer used 0 filler words. Toastmaster Kareem Meghani, during your speech or during your conducting of the panel discussion, you used 20 filler words, and your dominant filler word is In the video, the guy who was talking used 4 filler words. DGM Samir used 9 filler words. Toastmaster Musa and the panelists, you used 32 filler words. Toastmaster Azhar, you used 21 filler words. Project 2, the introducer used 2 filler words, which is myself. Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir used only 4 filler words. Project 3, Toastmaster Kareem Meghani used 3 filler words during introduction. Toastmaster Rahman used 12 filler words. Project 4, introduction, only 1 filler word, and DTM Surprise, you stumbled twice. Really no filler words, you just stumbled twice during the speech. You just repeated. Project 5, Toastmaster Hiba, the introducer, used 2 filler words. Toastmaster Vijay used 8 filler words. Project 6, Toastmaster Aviation used 3 filler words during introduction. Toastmaster Mariam Akhtar is by 7 filler words during speech. Project 7, Toastmaster filler word during introduction. Toastmaster Farhan has only 4 filler words during your speech. Short dictate, Toastmaster Imran used 4 filler words in introduction. Toastmaster Rabia Zishan, as a speaker, you use 12 filler words. During tabletop, guest Fahim used 2 filler words. Toastmaster Shamam used 6 filler words. Toastmaster Ali Zargan, you use 20 filler words. And Toastmaster Ali Ashwaranju, you use 4 filler words. Journal evaluator Shiva during hosting of the session, he has so far used 5 filler words. The first evaluator, DC Nazir, just repeated once. I used 4 filler words as per my approximation. I may be wrong. Challenge me. Toastmaster Kareem Meghani used 8 filler words. Toastmaster Usar 2 filler words. Toastmaster Ajman 4 filler words. Toastmaster Rabia 4. Toastmaster Hiba 8. And Toastmaster Imran Rana, you managed to use 16 filler words.
Very nice.
Excellent evaluation. Toastmaster Shamsuddin, you used 8 filler words. And during the grammarian session, Toastmaster Rabia Zishan used 10 filler words. Over to you, General. Very precise.
Now for the last part of the listener, so I call upon you, Mulam Sagar.
Now you need to guess who was the speaker. I'll be calling out the phrase. Women take a lot of time to get ready. I will show you a video which can be a little disturbing for some.
Kareem.
This can only be done by the collusion with the guards.
Sarfraz Nazir. No, no.
With the guards, TM Samir. Yeah. There is a trust deficit between people and state. What benefit we are going to get by attending Toastmaster meeting?
Wajahat.
Wajahat. Any suggestion for the topic?
Rabia.
Friends are those whom I opt. Thank you very much.
Now for my part of the evaluation, overall it was a good meeting with good coordination. The overall session was quite informative with good prepared speeches and a simple yet interesting table topic session. We could have started on time so that we could have finished on time, unfortunately. But anyways, overall it was a well arranged session by the ExCom. Over to you.
Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm here.
We are hearing you.
Yeah, sorry. So here comes the end of our meeting. And thank you everyone for the amazing speeches and table topics and for the great evaluation as well. So I would like to hand over the charge to Mr. President, DTM Talha. Please head over the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. The vote for the Big Four is about to be floated. So please cast your vote for the Big Four if you want this meeting to end. And meanwhile, let me announce a very special award, which is for the first time has been reconfigured. Medium Surprise, please note, it has been reconfigured to include the adherence to project objectives. So the Critics' Choice Award, Best Speaker Award for today goes to the surprise of absolutely no one, Medium Surprise. The second place goes to Toastmaster Kareem Meghani. Third place goes to Toastmaster Lata. These results represent the work of at least how many people? 8 evaluators and 2 judges, right?
Yes.
So it's even a larger battery of evaluators than a standard speech contest. So You should be lucky. Okay. Toastmaster Alicia, do we have the results? Okay, fine. So please, our guest Fahim, please come and share your thoughts.
Thank you, Toastmaster Talal. First of all, thanks for giving me the opportunity to come as a guest here. It's my second time that I've been to a Toastmaster meeting, and I have to say I have literally loved it. The past meeting last week and this one. For some time, I have been looking for a club, a organization, an institution where I could do what you guys are doing to practice the public speaking, because this is where I think that's where the industry is heading. I think somewhere I read or somebody mentioned in the last meeting that 80% of the progression, both in the business world and in your career as an employment, depends on the way you conduct yourself in the communication, interpersonal, and the way you speak publicly when the opportunity comes. So I think that's a great today it's been lovely, and I really hope to keep going on every week to the club, and in the next 2 weeks I should be signing up as a member. Thanks so much.
Yes, you can say that. You're the VP membership, right?
Okay, so Toastmaster, please come on the stage to announce the voting results.
Thank you, President. Distinguished Toastmaster. So the best speaker operator goes to Toastmaster Mariam Aftab. The animator goes to distinguished Toastmasters Karan. Table topic goes to me. We can check the.
No, we rely on.
Yeah.
Okay. The best facilitator goes to our listener, Toastmaster. Next, big four is Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Naveenta Karan.
Wow. For diffuse process knowledge, I'd like to mention one thing. Sadly, you can't get a pen for 2 rupees in Pakistan. It costs at least 10 rupees. How did I find out? We were rushing to a wedding yesterday, and I had to write something on the envelope. And naturally there was no pen whatsoever with my wife, who is a teacher. Naturally, there was no pen in the car, so I had to buy it. And in order to spend money, I had to spend those 10 rupees. So yeah, so details surplus, your evaluation can be slightly amended to change the phrase 2 rupee pen to 10 rupees.
Because of inflation.
With that, I absolutely am thrilled with today's meeting. Thank you, everyone. Why? Because in terms of numbers, on the surface we had 8 speeches, but in reality, thanks to the panel discussion, those were actually equivalent to 14 speeches. And,
my goodness.
And we haven't had even a speaker-thon except once with that many speeches. And that speaker-thon had 19 speeches, and that lasted for 2 days. So that's why I said that this was our second longest meeting in terms of content, but at the same time, we are finishing it in 3 hours and 15 minutes, which is quite reasonable by our standards. So I just quickly call our VP Education Professor Karan for any announcements, and he has a couple
contest chair. So those who want to compete in the contest as a contestant, as a judge, or as a role player, please contact me. And next week we will have our academy. So with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for being here to make this wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations.